Welcome back to Superman 64. So yeah, let's continue, I guess.
I love how in the title screen Brainiac is not even watching.
There you go. Every time you load up your save file, you get to a level select with all the levels you've completed thus far. Well,
okay, I swear.
And you can go to the last one, so see the last level that you were in, which is in case second ride. See, they're not mazes, they're rides apparently.
Gonna take you for a ride.
I swear, whenever I initially listen to the voices in this game, I can't discern that they are the voices from the show.
Yeah.
But I guess
I haven't made much progress, so I do wonder if the people on IMDb just genuinely just guessed and then laughed. Well, okay, to be fair, I haven't seen the credits of this game in a long time, but I don't think they mentioned that.
Okay, well, to its credit, listening closely, I guess the It's No Time to Waste does sound like Tim Daly. I need to listen closer to the Luther stuff here, but again, if this is the actors, either this may have been like test or beta stuff, or the sound compression on the voices distorts them enough that I cannot recognize them.
It does sound pristine enough to me, Joe.
Anyway,
yes, Pedro?
yeah, now I switched to the default display cinema, and I get the feeling the full screen option just zooms in the picture, because it doesn't really look like Superman. It does look like Superman is farther from the camera in this mode.
If I may, it's about an aspect ratio here. You know how sometimes stuff looks better in widescreen than if you just do it to full screen? This could be a case similar to what
and look at that.
With
now the rings move.
The rings move.
Great.
Cool. More challenge.
I would like to mention something else on the matter. When I haven't played this game, and quite frankly, I don't even want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Around the time this came out, I think it was a bit later, but still, I played the PC version of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which is, I heard is more akin to the version that came on the PS2. Then it is very different from the PS1. That one involved Madame Hooch's training, which does involve passing through rings and that. And that game makes it so
Grabbing for the
much
free
more
mind droppers. There you go. Basically, we just have to find the mine droppers, which are those robots that drop, well, mines. Like so, yeah. And just pick them up and throw them.
So, well, yeah, because everything you pick up for some reason explodes.
Yep.
But, yeah, going back to what you're asking, Pedro, I think this might be a case somewhat similar to what happened originally with the Sleeping Beauty movie when it was taken from theaters and put to home media.
Yeah.
Wherein, in order to make it fit to TVs, it was full screen, but a lot was cropped out in that.
Yeah, it was.
I would need a side-by-side comparison because at the very least, the HUDs still fit in the full-screen version, but that could have been the only thing that was altered to fit it.
I mean, I'm running the game.
Case where it does get cropped in that regard.
I mean, the emulator runs the game in 4:3, which was the aspect ratio for every single N64 game. The thing is, this is more so a matter of like how they display the screen, because the thing is, and remember, back in these days, PAL games actually usually had aspect ratios of this kind, where they were always more black bar-y, for lack of a better term. And remember, this game was made by Titus, which is a French company, so this game most likely was made. So this game was most likely made with the PAL experience in mind, basically.
Oh,
again,
joy!
thanks
A game
for your TVs.
You know what? That would honestly explain all the lagging, because it certainly does feel like we're working with that PAL.
Allow me to help you there, Joe. But no, I'm playing the American version of the game. It's just that, trust me, the game lags because it's shitly coded. It has nothing to do with the PAL frequency, I assure you. The game lags regardless of which version you're playing.
Alright, fair enough, but I do feel like the frame rate definitely feels like it's more geared for the European experience.
Let me explain something about the flying controls. If you try to fly upward or downwards, it's a problem because the camera fucking spins like mad, and because the camera switches perspective, so do the controls. So it's a problem. So when it comes to
Pedro.
Yes.
Why don't you just skip some of the rings and, just try and make it in time to the last one?
Well, that actually allows me to explain. You can only miss a total of three. You can only miss a total of like 3 rings, meaning like you can only miss 3 times. If you miss more than that, you have to start the ring course all over again. So, unlike with the easy mode, you can't just go again. Like I said, that whole thing with the easy mode where you just follow the fucking compass to the destination. That's how the game should have been designed to begin with.
I mean, that's the thing about this game. There's this, I'm not gonna call it rich, but there is this open world, but barely do anything playground style with it because you more or less are set where you go. You only get that sort of freedom in easy mode, and well, it won't really matter much because you can't complete the game proper in easy mode.
Eric Kahn himself even admitted in interviews that in hindsight they were aiming for something that the N64 realistically could not handle. Remember, they were trying to do an open-ended Superman game on the N64. This was before open-ended games were even the standard. Well,
too much ambition.
Well, okay. Well, as we saw,
might not be the best word because we did have some.
Yeah, we did. Remember, we did in 2D games with Lost World Jurassic Park that we did recently for the Mega Drive. That game is an open-ended game, but it's a 2D game. You know,
they had to sacrifice a lot for that.
Yeah, and that game was much easier to produce. This, on the other hand, is a 3D game, which remember, this was basically around the time where the game developers were had to just relearn the whole craft all over again, because developing a game in 3D with polygons was a whole nother story compared to 2D sprites.
This ring challenge is still going.
Yeah. You think this is long now? Trust me, these ring stages only get longer and longer as they go, and there's 7 of these, by the way.
It's been such a long time since I last experienced this game. I forgot how long these things could get.
Pedro, I have to ask, did you forget about the grace rings? Because it's like, you're treating it as though, if you miss just 1 ring, you fail.
Well, Dwebs, I'm trying my best to miss it.
He's doing this because he wants to try and cut down on the ones that he can't be allowed to miss.
Exactly. Imagine, for example, Dwebs, if I get careless and I just start missing rings. Okay, I'll miss 3 rings and then I'll miss another. But then I make a mistake and I miss a 4th one and then I have to start all over again. See, I'm just trying to be careful. Okay.
Let me put it like this. Some rings are a lot easier to miss than others, so I can understand why some go backwards.
Okay, so now we have another mission, but first let's save a state, because, if I fail, I have to do the rings again, so...
Is this the mission I think it is?
Destroy all the dark shadows in front of the skater. So there's a skater who's an idiot, and this guy is... Okay, first of all, why do the dark shadows want to kill this skater? What? I thought the idea was the plan was to kill Superman.
Gnarly, dude.
Don't you see, Pedro? If they kill people, that'll kill Superman's spirit because he lets an innocent skater die, yo.
Is this like in the Batman and Robin PS1 game where if you kill a citizen, you get hurt?
Oh god, the Batman and Robin PS1 game. We have got to tackle that at some point.
Okay.
What?
Was Super just teabagging that guy to death?
Yes. Alright. It's very hard to try to land because the fucking... Whatever, let's move on. Okay, so like Prudod John demonstrated in his Let's Play, don't go away and just let the skater finish on his own. You have to follow him and make sure he gets there, otherwise he clips out of existence and you will fail the mission.
Able to accompany any skateboarder in the nearest vicinity.
Yep.
Truly the fighter for true justice in the world's way.
In the virtual world way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's riveting gameplay, isn't it? Trust me, anyway.
My god, just when I thought...
And there you go.
Walking
More rings, and...
Considering it's a 7-minute time limit, I get the idea there's gonna be a lot.
This entire part is nothing... Get comfortable, Tail. This entire part is nothing but rings.
Alright, I like to think about some ring puns for the titles.
Well, then I guess you could say there's no time to waste.
There is
And there's no time to waste.
no, trust me. When Superman says that, he means it. Because trust me, every time these rings will give you like a 7-minute timer, or like sometimes they'll even get a 15-minute timer. Trust me, you will use every single one of those minutes. So,
I'm curious, Pedro, how much of this ring challenge mastery is from muscle memory?
not much. Like I said, I actually can adjust. I actually don't. After again, what is actually from muscle memory is actually the controlling the flight, because I actually can control the flight decently enough. Again, like that was anyone. Like I don't have too much problems with the rings because I can actually control myself flying reasonably well, especially because. Most of the rings are close to each other, so it's even when they move. So I can more or less steer myself well enough. Not that I don't have problems at all. Trust me, I do. But it's not torturous. If that when it comes to memory, like muscle memory, because of the patterns of the rings, no, I don't remember a single thing because these ring stages just blend in together. To be honest with you.
Again, if the time limit was not that dickish, or again, I get the idea why it's pressing in the first place, because otherwise the only penalty for failing would be just turn your back, align back positions correctly, and then you can go. Like, but man, not even that much levity for you to do that.
That's why I have a cheat activated where I can just press the D-pad up to increase my timer whenever I need it, because again. A lot of times the game will give you timers that are flat out unfair, and go on.
This is one of the rare parts where I have to ask: did they include those cheats as something extra, or did they include them?
Oh no,
sheer
the cheats I'm using are Game Shark cheats, the same Game Shark cheats that Doc Roger the ones used in his review.
Oh, Game Shark cheats. I thought that these.
The game does have built-in cheats. But if I remember correctly, it's only a level skip cheat. Let me double check real quick. Superman.
Right,
I think there are infinite resources for your power.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Like specific ones, like infinite X-ray, infinite.
Does it have an infinite health cheat?
So,
I don't remember because I noticed a snippet of that on the game facts when I looked in the previous part.
All right. Well, since this ring section's still going to go on for a little bit, okay. I've said before, I have got the Superman animated series on Blu-ray, which is probably, from what I can tell, the only thing related to this series you should own.
Yeah, exactly.
No, hold on. Shadows of Apocalypse is a fair and fine game.
Okay, one of the few ones.
Wait, is that game related to this one?
Believe it or not, it has a similar, if not identical, control scheme, except it actually works.
Okay, I'm checking the cheats on GameFAQs. It has a get ice throwing breath to be able to ice things up with a burst of. Just pause the game and tap Z then L. Okay. Then it has get super speed, heat vision. Yeah, like Teo said. It also has a level skip cheat where you can basically do the thing. Yeah. Here are the super cheat codes. Like, oh yeah, it has a level select cheat. It has they're called super cheat codes. At the main menu, press a bunch of buttons. Then you can press C up and C down to either go up or down in the level list, or you can press LZ to do super punching, whatever that is. And energy refill. So basically, you can pause the game. You do a little sequence of cheat buttons so you can refill your health meter. That being said, I don't really want to pause the game every 10 seconds, so I'll just use the Game Shark Infinite Health cheat, thanks.
What I was saying, yeah.
Well, I was saying, I have seen the first 2 episodes of the show, I believe. Maybe 3, I can't remember.
Actually, yes, you have seen all 3 because way back in our earlier career, we did try to do a commentary of the show.
Didn't you try just the Fleischer cartoons?
We also did that too. But we did also try doing commentary of Superman.
Well, it probably was a theme. what you guys did without me, because I only seen one episode of the entire series.
Actually, Tio, you were there for that, but again, those are lost to time.
Whatever.
I must have forgotten, because on my own, I only seen one, and it's the one with Lobo, and only because of that.
And yeah, as you can see, the open-ended Metropolis, in order to properly get this thing to on the N64 without the console exploding, they had to make it empty as shit with nothing in it. And even then, even still, despite making this empty as fuck, they still had to put a lot of draw distance fog, because here's the thing about this. Well, actually, I'll talk about it after, because we're almost done with this particular course of rings.
You're telling me that this actually is almost all. Also, the palace was glitched.
Remember, Tail, I've been increasing my timer throughout. That's why it doesn't seem like. Don't mind the timer, Tail, because I can cheat that timer.
Grab and throw the two.
Wait, why drop us again?
Yes. We're only like barely an hour into this game, and they're already reusing mission concepts.
Oh goodness, but yeah, Tio, I would say I'll give the DCAU credit. They did a good job making a kid-friendly Lobo.
Yeah, it's fun for what he needs to do. I'm still again, considering he's actually my favorite DC character in general, I'm still waiting for a proper R-rated movie or something like that. I also have to see the Superman Man of Tomorrow movie, because I know he shows up in that, which is the one that starts the new animated movie continuity that they're going right now after the Flashpoint universe.
Going back to the distance
so
fog
this
bit.
new movie continuity they're doing, is it like...
It's the one, believe it or not, the two-parter of Longa Green is part of part of that, the one we commented, but yes, Pedro?
Going back to the distance fog bit. See, the thing about distance fog, this was a very common technique used by N64 games. Ocarina of Time did this. The thing is, the distance fog in this game, again, it boils down to the fact that the reason there's so much distance fog and so poor draws is because, again, they tried to make an open-ended Metropolis arena. Teo, this is it. This is the game. Like, this is Superman 64. This is Superman 64, motherfuckers.
So, is anyone getting hungry for onion rings?
I never liked those.
Anyway.
Well, you may have to learn to, because this game.
If I do that, I'm gonna holitate all over you.
Teo, and get comfortable, because they only get longer as we go along. There's 7 of these.
Okay. Oh my god, and I hate these sequences where you can't even tell the right order initially.
Okay. To be fair, you can tell. It's always the green ring that's spinning. It's always that one.
Yes, that is it. However, if you don't have a TV that, differentiates colors as well, the gray and the green tend to blend with the fog a lot. So you might go towards one a bit more before going to the other. And imagine you don't have the cheat that Pedro has that allows you to set the timer back up. Because let's be honest, if he was not using the timer cheat, methinks we'd be seeing a lot more of these ring sections.
Well, I would cut out shit, but yeah, Jova's Jova's right. Or Jova, another way that would happen is if you're playing the game at only 20% visibility.
That too, yeah.
Again, I have to ask, who the fuck was this? Let's think about. Somebody pitched that. Someone actually pitched that idea. And they roll with it. They didn't think it was a joke or anything. Like,
I got paid for it.
It's like, did somebody really just want a Game Boy port? So they went, oh look, this is what it would look like on a Game Boy screen.
Jova. No, we actually did get a Game Boy port, even though it was 2 years before this one. Yeah, for those who don't know, Titus actually made another Superman game aside from this one 2 years before this one. It was a Game Boy game, and guess what? It sucks too.
I believe you. Like, I'm not surprised.
No, well, okay, it's still a better game than this one. Not that that's a high bar to meet.
I don't believe this either, but I know that Titles also has a bad reputation when it comes to their multiple games.
But back to the distance fog bit. This was a very common thing that the N64 did, because again, The N64 could only render so much, especially considering the limitation of data that could be put in the cartridge media compared to CDs. So basically, distance fog was something that Nintendo 64 games use all the time. The problem is, since they're trying to do an open fucking area in this fucking game, they can't render. They can only render like 20% of the area at once. So yeah, that's why we're constantly seeing things fade in and out of existence, because this is the only way we're going to be able to get the game running without the N64 exploding.
How wonderful.
Again,
Anyway,
just only recently, with game consoles finally having SSDs, do we finally have the ability to render an entire open world all at once. So, go on.
Yes, Jova.
So the new universe you're talking about is called the Tomorrowverse, and we've
Yes,
actually had a peek at that because Long Halloween is actually part of it.
Yeah, like I said, the Young Halloween was just smack that. Again, that's the weird thing about the DC animated movies. They want to have their cake and eat it too, in a sense of they want to have this new continuity where sometimes they adapt some stuff and sometimes they have original material. But then
Alright, let's see what now. Grab and throw the free robots to protect the people. Are you starting to see a pattern here, people? That's because they're rendering three enemies, 2 people, and 2 dark shadows all at once. And again,
that's a lot.
Whenever that's the thing too. Whenever the game tries to render a lot of enemies at once, it slows down like to a crawl.
You know,
Jesus
just
Christ.
for reference sake, we had Superman games before this. They were better. This feels
So
like
don't tell me. I know this one. More rings. I must be psychic. All right, let's go.
You know, I'll say this: if you like rings of any sort, then this game is a godsend.
Okay, so what side mission did I miss?
You missed. Dibs. Get this. Pick up enemies and throw them. Are you starting to see a pattern here, Dwibs?
Like the rings.
Well, okay, aside from that pattern. Like,
Now they're bouncing up and down like you're on a pogo stick.
It's the time having fun.
at this point, the developers are just mocking you.
It's like
And that's
trolling.
kind of the thing. The developers have been saying how much of a chore this game was to develop because Warner Brothers kept fucking with them.
That being said, they themselves are not innocent little lambs. Now they're moving. Well, yeah.
It sounds like it's jelly.
True.
It's to test your reflexes, but okay. I need.
Reflex.
Okay, in a later part, I'll go more into bits about this game's development. Like, yes, I can believe that these guys intended to make the best game that they could. I also acknowledge the fact that they probably got desperate at some point and tried to pad out the game so it would be worthy of a full price release. The methods they chose.
This should have been like an alpha state that the game was based on got cancelled and only a few years ago was actually salvaged by someone and leaked on the internet.
Can you imagine
if
an
the story of the
ultimate
game was
reality?
like this, I can tell you that despite the clunkiness and everything, people were more fascinated about this game. But no, this is a full-on release.
It cost 60. It cost full price on release, by the way.
You know, that's kind of the amazing thing, Tio. Sometimes what separates a product from being legendarily bad or
It's the
legendarily
context,
amazing is just whether or not it actually got released.
In the meantime, I would like to correct something that I said in the previous part in an answer to one of Jova's questions. Jova asked me how far I got as a kid. I actually misspoke when I answered him, so I would like to correct that. As a kid, Jova, I got as far as... Okay, 1, 2... 3. Okay, see, I miscounted the levels earlier. Okay, so basically, I got to the level where we're supposed to save Lois, which is the warehouse, which would be level 6, technically. Well, remember, the game counts each of these ring bits as levels, so... basically, Jova, by the time, trust. Well, that's the thing. Well, here's the thing, Jova. I will argue the Dam and the LexCorp levels, which are the two more proper levels before we get to the warehouse. I will argue those levels are fairly. Okay, let me rephrase that. Are far easier to understand what you're supposed to do compared to the warehouse, because the warehouse level and how we have to save Lois makes no sense. You have to take such huge leaps in logic. But whatever. The point is, we got there. You go, LexCorp. All right, so we got to our next level, LexCorp.
Hey, why couldn't we have just flown to LexCorp?
Because we have to. Because only then can Superman win. There you go.
Soup's face is so scrunched.
I mean, I
Because
guess
it kind of looks like the Fleischer cartoon version.
Which is ironic because that is the face in the animated universe, but you're right. With how scrunched it is, it would not look out of place in the Fleischer set.
Alright, everybody. In the next part, we do LexCorp. So see you then.
Yeah.